Hi everyone, I'm Miss Destiny from the Fayette County Public Library today with a really neat craft for you. Today what we're going to be going over is a little tiny guitar. So when you come into the library and you pick up your craft kit, you're going to find several different items inside of it. The first one that you're going to find is a brown piece of paper with several shapes. You're going to want to cut out those shapes. We have 2 rectangles, we have 1 large circle, and then you're going to find that you have 8 small circles. So once you get all those cut out, we can go ahead and start with our piece of wallpaper. We have really pretty designs on each one, and each one's a little bit different. And you're going to find the outline of your guitar on the back of that wallpaper. So we'll go ahead and lay it out, and we're going to want to start cutting. Now something you might notice when you're looking at our guitar today is that there's only 4 strings. A lot of people think that most guitars would have more, but some will have 4. You might see one with 8, 7, 10, and even 12. But today we're only going to have one with 4. Now this, you might notice, because of the circle in the center, is what you would call an acoustic guitar. Acoustic guitars don't use electricity, and a lot of times you'll see them for, maybe country music. You might see it for pop music. Some people might strum it with a pick. Some people might use their fingers. It really all depends, but there are different kinds of guitars as well. While an acoustic guitar is hollow on the inside, you might find that an electric guitar, which uses an amp and electricity to make different sounds, is solid. So today we're doing an acoustic guitar. Now be careful when you're cutting out your shape. You don't want to lose the head of the guitar. You want to make it look nice and defined. And the thinner part of the guitar, the neck, you don't want to cut across and accidentally cut that neck off. So keep cutting, just be really careful with your scissors. And once you are done, we can go ahead and turn our guitar over. All right, so there is our outline of our guitar. The next thing that we're going to do is I am going to just cut some long strips out for the back of our guitar on this extra paper that we have. That way that we can support the back, make it a little bit stronger. These don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be, a certain length. This is really just to kind of give it some support. If you look at this guitar, it's pretty firm, but if you look at the one in the packet, without it, it's a little bit floppy, and we don't want it to be floppy because we want it to look a little bit realistic. So all you got to do is cut out a couple lines. You can see my example there. Just take some glue and run that up the back just to kind of fortify your guitar a little bit. Keep everything in place, and you'll almost immediately notice it's a little bit less floppy. And if you see part of this just popping up, don't be afraid to do another line of glue and make sure you get the edges nice and smooth. That way it'll hold good and firm when you want to display your guitar. I'm going to do a couple other little lines just to keep everything in place. And that's the good thing about having scrap paper. That way you can utilize all of it and you don't have to put as much in the trash. So just get your glue on there nice and good. I'm going to go across the bottom like this, and that'll, protect the bottom of the guitar a little bit. Go back to my scraps. Do a little tiny thin strip for up at the top. Try to be careful not to get your glue on your table or your workspace. And see, that is a little bit too big. So we can adjust, just take a little bit and snip it off. There we go. And you don't have to do as many layers as I do. That's totally up to you. If you feel your guitar is nice and sturdy enough, you can just go ahead and flip it over. And that is already a massive difference. So we're going to set our scraps aside, and we're going to go ahead and start gluing on the pieces of a guitar. So like I said, this is an acoustic guitar, so it's hollow. there's a hole in the center of the guitar, and when you strum the strings, the sound vibrates through the guitar, and that hollowness is what creates a very defined sound in the guitar. You just want to get our circle right in the middle. And now we are going to start these. Now, take a piece of glue on each of your brown rectangles and just rub it on there. We're going to use this to sandwich our string, hold it in place. This wallpaper is a little bit slick, so if we go ahead and we just glue the strings straight down, they're going to slip and slide, and they're not going to want to stay all that well. So we're going to place this below our circle, and see, we just want to make sure that everything stays down nice and flat. And then take another dollop of our glue stick and lay out your strings. So we're going to go with our longer strings. And you might notice it pops up a little bit. That's okay, because we're going to, like I said, we're going to sandwich it in between those pieces so that it holds in place. And right now what we're doing is just laying them out so that they're sitting correctly on the guitar when the time comes to put them together. Okay, there we go. And now on the piece that we had glued just a second ago, take it and press it down. You want to press it down nice and firmly. Make sure that you get both sides on the edges of the string and in between the pieces of string. That way that everything is closed nice and tightly. This will hold your string in place, because here in just a minute we're going to be stretching them just a little bit as we work at the top of the guitar. To make everything a little bit easier, we can just take our guitar and actually flip it around. That way we're not having to work far away from us. So now we're going to do something very similar to what we had just done. Just make sure everything stays glued down. If you need to add a little bit of glue, don't be afraid to, because like I said, this material is a little bit slick, so it kind of wants to not absorb that glue. What we're going to do is we're going to take 4 of our little brown dots, and we're going to put those down. So we're going to take a little spot here, 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 and here. Take those and you just press them nice and firmly down. We don't want those popping up. We don't want the edges to pop up. So press them nice and firmly. And this is going to be the base of the top part that holds our strings in place. Then we're going to take a little bit of glue on those and start attaching our string. So you might notice your string is a little bit long. That's okay. I don't want my string to be super long on this one. So I'm just going to snip it right off. Easy peasy. Same with the other side. I want the string to kind of match up with that dot and stay just about that length. That way, when we glue down our other dots, they're not showing through. I don't want to see the string underneath it. I just want to see it leading up to that point. So take your other piece, put some glue on it, and then sandwich that string in between it. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure you pinch both sides where that string is. That way it'll stay in place. And once we get these two done, we're going to do the exact same thing at the top. We're going to go ahead and press that down, and look at how that's staying right exactly how I wanted it. Now these ones, I don't really need to cut that one because I think that it was just about the perfect length. So I'm just going to head ahead and I'm going to stretch it, and that's why it was so important to make sure that it was placed firmly at the head of the guitar. There we go. And we're just going to sandwich that in. With this one, I think I'm going to trim it just a little bit. And I'm going to take my glue, I'm going to dollop it on there and stretch it real nice and tight and press it on. I take my glue with my other circle and then sandwich it in. press it down nice and firm. And if you see these ones popping up, again, just take a little bit of glue. We can always wash our hands. All right, everybody, and with that, our guitar is done. Oh, don't want that to fall off. So now that we have our guitar done, you can just hold it up and enjoy. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.